Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, December 13th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used to make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And real quick, I do want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class I'm offering. So if you like what you see as I go through the video and you're wanting to learn more about this tool of charts and how they can be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box. If you're watching at my site, there's going to be an area right there on the page that you can click on to get signed up. So if you're liking what you see, then definitely get signed up for the free class. And first off, a couple of quick clarification points. First off, I will be doing the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. And next, the market is still open for a little bit of time. So this candle here that you see, the most recent one, it will be moving and taking shape. But I like to do these videos when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really entertaining movement. So we'll see what happens. But the market's also near enough to being closed where the levels I talk about will still be relevant heading into next week. But AMC, first one here, ticker symbol AMC itself, is just had another rough day here. And what I'm going to do is just focus on one level here, get rid of these levels. And I talked about this trend line in previous videos, but I just want to extend this out because in my mind, that's still going to be the main level of resistance to watch moving forward. Now, the positive part here is that at least right now, there is a bounce underway. Now, of course, there's a lot more work that needs to be done, but I'm assuming I can speak for most people. Better to see the price starting to work back upwards as opposed to just continuing to bleed further and further down. So, that didn't happen here. So nice to see that it bounces, which now just leads to the valid question of, okay, is this bounce the start of something bigger? Is there any sort of true power behind it? And, one way to see that is, first off, can the price get up to that trend line? And if it can it push up through it? So keep an eye on that dynamic right there. But in my opinion, at least, I'd reserve being super bullish until the price can at least prove itself to be able to get up above that trend line right there because there, are such thing as dead cat bounces. And I'm not saying that this is a dead cat bounce, but it very well could be. So like I said, just because you get some sort of bounce doesn't mean that all of a sudden everything's going to reverse. But like I said earlier, it's better than having the price continue to bleed downwards. As far as a very important level of support is now concerned, it's all about that level down there at 25.25, which brings about maybe a potential double bottom pattern forming here. So you have bottom number one right there, which you can't see because it's behind my beautiful face. But let's just do this real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. There we go. So right there, bottom number one, if the price comes down here, could that be bottom number two? That's another potential scenario. So maybe a double bottom takes shape next week. But overall, that trend line right there as the resistance, that 25.25 green line as support are definitely going to be the two main technical levels to watch next week. Next one here, ticker symbol AVCT, and what a big monster move this one had once again today. But this is now a very tricky chart to talk about because there's, several different perspectives that go into it. And before I get to those perspectives, let's just get the first update done. And this update is based on a foundational rule that when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So as far as the perspectives, meaning, is this a bad or good looking chart? Well, I don't know. It just depends. So what do I mean? Well, if you're a day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought right there, maybe you're buying the dip right there, and your plan was to buy and sell within 15 minutes, well, then from that perspective, the chart looks absolutely terrible because clearly a pretty big pullback here is underway. Now, if you care about things from the big picture point of view, even with the big pullback, the price could still come down in there to that level of support now that I talked about and level out there. And what would you still have from the big picture point of view? Well, you'd still have a set of lows there. You'd have lows there. You'd have lows down here. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, what do you have? Well, from the big picture, you'd still very clearly have stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So from the grand scheme of things viewpoint, even with the pullback, the chart is still perfectly fine. But again, I realize that sounds crazy if you're some sort of day trader, that was buying up there. So overall, like I said, is this a good or bad looking chart? That totally depends on what your strategy was going into the purchase. Next one here, LCID, and some good interesting action here coming into play. So to build a little context, talked about that trend line in the previous video and how it was just a nasty move. But today the price has now gotten up above that trend line and it's now started to actually bounce in the upwards direction. So that is step one. At least that trend line has been broken up through. But it does also bring about a valid question of, okay, don't get me wrong, that's a nice little bounce here from that low up to where it was. But is there any sort of genuine power behind it? Well, let's just see if the price can start to make progress, right? Because that's what a truly strong move is going to do. It's going to show signs of progress. Now, I get it. What are you talking about, Clay? Show signs of progress. Those are just words. What does that even mean? Well, that's the powerful thing about charts is they allow you to take words and phrases and make them very visual. So when I say show signs of progress, what I mean by that is staying up above that area right there at 36.75. Why that level? Well, let's say the price comes down there and levels out. Same exact concept as before. Well, if you envision each one of these as stair steps, so you have a low right there as a stair step, then you have lows down there as a stair step. Well, what direction are those stair steps moving? Well, these stair steps are still making progress in the upwards direction. And again, that's what a truly strong move is going to do. So in my mind, yeah, it bounced today. But is there true power? Well, let's see if it can make progress. What's progress being defined as? Staying up above 36.75. Next one here, SGMA, and what an absolute monster. Just a huge move, and this is one where there's not really any breakout opportunities right now. Now, had the price stayed down below that trend line right there, then yeah, you could have maybe, played some sort of breakout through there, but that's already happened. But as far as just big volume, big momentum, ability to move very quickly, I mean, that's the main reason why this one's now going to be on the watch list to see if this can carry into Monday. But it's also a great one from a pullback perspective because, it's always one of those things where, I don't know, am I chasing? Am I buying the top? Am I suffering from FOMO, fear of missing out? Well, yeah, some people right there that bought, they're probably pretty nervous right about now. But if you like to play pullbacks, then there are definitely some very interesting levels here. First potential pullback area right there at the $13 mark. If you want to be a little bit more conservative and require it to come down a little bit more, another logical area would be down there around 11.85. So keep an eye on those from a couple of pullback levels. I mean, if you want to be aggressive from a breakout standpoint, you could say that $15, whoops, let's change that. There we go. You could say that $15 is the level of resistance, which is true. It's just a single data point, and usually if you can get a little bit more than one data point, it becomes more valuable. But that doesn't take away from the fact of, as of now, $15 is where the party stopped. So if you do want to keep a breakout area on that, that would make sense. But like I said, if you do like to play pullbacks and like to find stocks that showed a big surge and then are pulling back a little bit, this could be one that fits that criteria. So worth at least keeping an eye on it on Monday. Next one here, ticker symbol F for Ford, and just going to do some house cleaning, but to illustrate this, let me extend this trend line out here. So you can see here that when I extend that out, that it did a fantastic job. I haven't done this one for a while, but you can see it still did that trend line did a great job of predicting that, and then check that out. Talk about a trendline break, which is why I want to do this, because that's what happened today. Today was the event where it finally broke through that trendline, and wow, when it broke that trendline, I mean, just absolute launch through that level. So a classic technical breakout of that trend line. So that's kind of the overall context of what happened today. That big old stubborn trend line has finally been broken. And now it just is a question of, where are some levels to play it and keep an eye on moving forward. And like the level or like the chart we just talked about, which is why I wanted to put it right afterwards. Same concept. There's not really any breakouts per se. This is more of a pullback play right now because like I said, the breakout has already happened as I showed you with that trend line. But if you do like to play pullbacks, there's an interesting area right there around $20.75. And then if you want to be a little bit more conservative about it, another interesting level down there around $20.40. But all in all, that doesn't take away from the fact that Ford today just got another big surge of volume, price movement. So if you like to play these sorts of momentum type movements and then look for pullbacks, again, this one should definitely be on the watch list. Next one here, ticker symbol PTPI, and I fully admit that maybe I have some wishful, thinking going on here because this one could very well just be game over. Today was just the one pop, one day tight pop, and now it's just going to drift back into oblivion. That's certainly possible. However, you got to admit that's a two-sided coin, and the other side is, maybe this was just a warm-up day with volume, and that this thing is going to give it another go to get up here through this level right at $3.35, which, going through the history of things, you can see has quite the track record of being extremely, extremely obnoxious to the price. But like, what was that, Ford that we just looked at, that big trend line, I mean, this is a big old level now too, where if the price can work its way up there and get the breakup through it, am I saying you're going to get as explosive of a move like Ford made? I'm not saying that, but I mean, is it at least valid? Is it at least rational to think that you could get another nice move? Yeah, absolutely. However, again, self-admittedly, the price has pulled back quite a bit from that level, but you never know with these. I mean, this price range, the price could snap back up there relatively quickly. So it's really just a question of, okay, nice volume today. Unfortunately, didn't get a whole lot of follow through with it, but who knows? Maybe this is just a leading indicator of volume and there's going to be another surge to come next week, or maybe just totally wishful thinking. So maybe put this one towards the bottom of the watch list, but it's worth at least keeping an eye on. Next one here, ticker symbol HOOD, Robinhood, and just want to do this one quickly because I keep having a relatively steady stream of people wondering about it, and there's not a whole lot that can be said. Clearly, the bears are in control. Clearly, it's in a downtrend, but there is a level that I think can help kind of cut through the questions of Just watch this level, and this level is going to be a very helpful indicator. And that level on this one is all about that purple line there, which on my chart denotes the very famous 50-period moving average. And take note that ever since the price dropped down below it right there, I mean, that level has been very, very problemsome. Right there, just rejected the price. Rejected the price, rejected the price, rejected the price. Right there, rejected the price. Here, cruel move, got above it, did not stay above it, back down, rejected the price, rejected the price. Again, cruel move, got above it, could not stay above it, got above it, could not stay above it, and then has now just dropped down below it. So my point here is this, is that before you really have any sort of feelings of bullishness, feelings of, okay, things are looking good, okay, things are getting better. Again, getting better, that's just a word. That's just a phrase. What does that even mean, getting better? Well, with charts, again, we can make that very visual, and getting better is not only breaking above that purple line, but it's got to be able to stay above it. Case in point, like I said, there's been a couple instances. Now, granted, neither of these instances has lasted very long, where the price has got, I mean, that was a pretty cruel one. It looked like it was going to be getting better, and then just a savage move to the downside there. But my point here is that until the price can get above that purple line and then consistently stay above it, now, the price does not have to explode above it, but just stay above it, then that's where you can start to feel better about things. Start to think, okay, maybe things are actually turning the corner. Maybe things are starting to get more bullish. But until that happens, I would be very sketchy. I would be very skeptical of any sort of upwards price movement, because that purple line, as I just showed, has done a very good job of showing, when you should or maybe should not start to feel better about things. So as far as this one, watch that 50-period moving average. Next one here, AMD, and first update just comes about based on that rule that I think I've already talked about a couple of times, that when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance, and that's actually already played out perfectly here. So price broke down below this one. Actually, I don't remember. What is the value of that? 145.50-ish area right there. And then at that point, you'd expect it to act as resistance. And sure enough, bounce, rejected, bounce, rejected, 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 and then down it's gone. So 145.50 going to be, certainly that overarching level of resistance. But really, before you even put too much attention, or really any attention on that level, the price first needs to prove itself by getting up above that purple line there, 50-period moving average, which again, same exact rule. That was a level of support right here, level of support right there. But now that the price is broken down below it, you'd expect it to act as resistance, which it kind of did right there. Never hit it exactly, but got within the general area of it. But point here being, before you really put too much emphasis or focus on 145.50, price needs to first break above the purple line, which right now valued at 141.75. As far as areas of support are concerned, the level that I'm curious about is this trend line here that's trying to start to construct itself. So it's always good when uptrends are attempting to be built, and that's what that trend line there is representing. So change that to green for support. So keep an eye on that from the support side of things. But yeah, as of right now, things are looking a little bit shaky, but maybe, just maybe, there's going to be some sort of longer picture, ascending triangle that forms, which is the bullish pattern. So that's very possible, and it's worth at least continuing to see how this takes for formation next week. Next one here, ticker symbol BFRI, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that have watched past videos I've done, because I've done this before, and that's where this red line is coming into play. And not to pat myself on the back, but certainly to pat charts on the back. I mean, these are a truly valuable tool to have, but I mean, look at that. You just can't make this stuff up. Look right where the price got rejected today, right at that red line, and I promise I have not moved that line. If you don't believe me, I'm not offended. I could be a total stranger to you. All you got to do is go back in the video archives, find the last time I did BFRI, and you'll see I put that red line right there. And I mean, just the power of charts. So pointer being $6.50, definitely a very key level. And what's interesting about this is, yeah, you have that very stubborn level, but at the same time, you still do have to give credit where credit's due and acknowledge the fact that there's a nice uptrending trend line right here. So that doesn't guarantee anything, but it does also illustrate that, yeah, disappointing that it got it rejected back down, but it's not like the price got rejected back down and then just completely crashed to the downside. No, it's still slowly grinding upwards. So once more, does that guarantee anything? No, but does it make it valid that, maybe the price is going to grind upwards and give that level another try? And at that point, if the price can break above there, could that create a bunch of upside buying pressure? Absolutely. You got to think that there's a bunch of short stop losses just hovering right above that level. Because it's proved to be such a stubborn level. But, if the price can recover back up to that 650 and get the break up through it, that could definitely create a very nice upwards momentum. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and I'll be doing this one more so, maybe it's a little self-indulgent, but I almost trade Tesla every day. So I'm going to be doing this one just to prep myself for next week and talk about the main levels that I'm seeing here and that I'll be paying attention to. Doesn't mean that you need to pay attention to them, but like I said, this is just going to be the levels that I'm going to be caring about. And the first level that stands out to me as very, very intriguing right here at the 10.02 mark. You can see 10.02 was a level of support there, level of support there. And when the price did break through it this morning, nice downwards move. The price did recover back upwards, but here's the interesting part. Bears try to press down, but oh, look, right there, started to act as support again. So from a very key level of support standpoint, that 10.02 is going to be a very watch level by me. And if the price can push down through there, next level of support would then be down from the lows of today, which right around, let's call it 9.85. If the price does continue to try to bounce back upwards, well, then the main area of resistance I'm very curious about is all about that purple line up there, that 50-period moving average, right now valid at 10.33, so I'll keep a general eye on that. But more so curious of if the price does roll back over, how will the price behave at 10.02? And if the price does push down through there, of course, no guarantees, but history has shown us that, Tesla can move very quickly. Not that you didn't already know that, but you get the idea, right? That it can snap down there. So that could be a potentially multiple point trade right there if that were to occur from the short side, if you're playing puts or whatever. Or if the price does continue to grind upwards, then, whether you're playing, the long side or just trying to play calls, there's some opportunity there. But in my mind, 10.02, a very, very fascinating level. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here, if you start seeing the potential, want to learn more about this tool and how to use it to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the class. Like I said, it'll be next week, Thursday, December 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So definitely get signed up for it. If you enjoy these videos and if you enjoy this format and would like for me to continue to make the top 10 videos, then please communicate that to me by doing two easy things. Hit the like button, leave a simple comment. Give me a ticker symbol that you traded today or that you're watching next week. Say hi. Give me a unicorn emoji, but hitting the like button, a simple comment communicates to me that you enjoyed these videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying, then I have no problem at all continuing to put in the time and effort to make these videos. So your help in that regard is much appreciated. And again, if you want to learn more about the tool of tactical analysis, how to use it to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Everybody take care. Have a good weekend.